everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give the most sincerest thank you to everybody who has been a part of this channel and has subscribed and been here to watch these videos, especially during this unusual year that we've had in 2020. And I also wanted to take this time to wish everybody the happiest of holidays this year. It has been, as I've said, a rough year for many of us, and we need some good spirits and some cheer to put this year behind us, and this is a perfect time to do so. So again, I want to wish everybody out there a very happy holiday from my family to yours. And because it's been such an unusual year this year, like most of us, sorry, just my cat was out there trying to eat the tree here. Like most of us, we are stuck at home under lockdown. I know here in Ontario, they're talking about another lockdown again before Christmas, for Christmas Eve, and then carrying on for approximately 28 days after. So we won't be able to see our family, and that goes for a lot of people out there. And so as I was sitting down a couple of days ago thinking about, you know, some of the traditions that we didn't get to do this year, or thinking about when I was a kid, I started to think about how every family has different traditions. My wife's had her own traditions, and my family has our own traditions that we do for Christmas, and celebrate the holidays. And so I was just thinking maybe I'd share a little bit about some of the things that we do as a family. And please, by all means, share in the comments below. What do you guys do as a family that are traditions? I love to hear them. I think this is the best time to spread some cheer and share your experiences with this wonderful holiday season. As just so everybody knows, this is one of my favorite times of year. So this is an excellent time to do all this and feel merry and get some good cheer. So with that, some of the main big traditions that my family has done was we used to have my grandparents and my uncles come over during Christmas morning. Now they used to call quite early Christmas morning, like 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I remember as a kid, I used to be up waiting for that phone call, because that signaled to me that it wouldn't be long before my grandparents were here and we could start opening up stockings. So I used to run upstairs, because my room was in the basement at this point in time, and I used to run up the stairs just to go look at the tree and turn it on and see what Santa had left, and just imagine and get an idea. And usually at this moment in time, my dad would be getting up and he'd be coming downstairs to put the coffee on and get some things ready while my mom was sleeping, and sometimes my sisters would still take some time to get up. So I'd also then go back downstairs, because I knew I had about 45 minutes, because my grandparents and my one uncle who they lived with lived in the same city, so they could be over pretty quickly in a short period of time. So I'd run back downstairs, and it was a tradition, and I've maintained this ever since. And a lot of people who play video games do this, where you replace a game. And some people are very religious in what game they play. Like, it has to be, you know, this particular game, you know, and that's what they play every Christmas morning, because it's that nostalgic feel for them, or that's when they got the game, or they got to a certain area of the game that's just so memorable that they have to do it every year. For me, I don't have a specific game. It's just I play for about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer nowadays, just enjoying myself and immerse myself in any game. Back when I was a kid, it could have been, you know, Donkey Kong 64, Mario 64, could have been Pokemon. That was another big one, was Pokemon. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh! There was one game I remember, the Polar Express. I was really into that one year for the GameCube. Sometimes just Animal Crossing. When I had Animal Crossing, I would go on Christmas, because you always got a package from your mom, and just to, you know, enjoy the aesthetic of the town, right? So I'd always do that even. So there's this ritual of playing any game, but just enjoying it. for, a couple hours. But when I was a kid, you didn't have a couple hours. You had maybe 45 minutes at most. So I would take that time, enjoy myself, and loved it, and just relished it. And then I'd hear my sisters or people getting up, and I'd go back upstairs, and we'd look and see our gifts and talk and get excited as kids. Because, that's what the best part of Christmas is. It's for kids, right? It's lovely to see them. That's why I'm so happy to have 2 girls of my own, and the one is 2, so she's already getting to that idea of what is Christmas, and she wants to rip stuff to see what's inside. So it's just so much fun when you got kids. Now, when I was a child, after we had discussed with my sisters about what possibly could be under the tree, we would then, hear knock at the door. It was my grandparents and my uncle, sometimes uncles, depending who was down that year for Christmas, because I had 2 other uncles that lived in northern Ontario at the time. And so they would come, sometimes would be there as well. And by then my mom would be up, the coffee would be on. And the first thing we were allowed to do, because it took my mom a little bit of time to get going, was to open up our Christmas stockings. And I know some people have different traditions with stockings. They open them the night before, like Christmas Eve. But we were allowed to wait and open them first to get everybody sort of settled in and ready. And what my family did that was different than maybe others that I've talked to, both friends and even my wife, is that my family would wrap up some gifts and put them into your stocking. So we used to have these big stockings, and as a kid, we were super spoiled. We used to have, there's myself and my 2 sisters, but we used to have tons of gifts. Like, it was just jam packed from all your aunts and uncles and grandparents and your mom and dad, and even Santa, right? Santa. It was wonderful as a kid, but super spoiled, and so we were very lucky. And I know that a lot of people out there weren't as fortunate as us. And by no means this is meant to be braggy or anything like that. It's just some traditions that I remember about this. And so opening up our stockings, my family sometimes would wrap them up, some of the gifts. And usually in your stocking you got chocolate and various stuff like that. But they would wrap up toys and put them in. So for example, it could be like Lego, or for my sisters a Barbie. And they called them appetizer, they're like appetizer gifts to get you going. And that was really, really fun because it kept the kids quiet, and at the same time allowed the families to get, my parents and my grandparents and uncles to get themselves situated, get themselves a coffee, talk a little bit, and then we began. And I'm sure, as in many families, there's always one person that's designated Santa's little helper, and they go out, or Santa in some cases, and deliver the gifts from under the tree. And for the most part, it usually was my dad, and he'd give out the gifts. And after that, we'd do it one at a time, and we'd talk and laugh and see them all. After that, what my dad and my mom and my family, is a big tradition of ours, was to have meat pie. So this goes back many, many generations on my mom's side, where in England they also made these tortillers, right? These meat tortillas, we call them meat pies. And my grandmother used to make them, and there'd be a day in early December where she would spend the entire day with my mom making the dough, making the filling, and making these beautiful pies. And there'd be like 40, 50 pies. You'd be done making them, and she'd give them to a bunch of different people in our family. And then there was always 1 or 2 that we'd have on Christmas morning. And that was another tradition of ours that we used to do as a family. Another tradition was, once that was done, so by the time you opened your gifts, you sat down. My grandparents and my uncles would be there, as I said, probably from 7-ish, right, because they call it 6, get there by 7, till probably about 11. And then they'd go home. And you had from 11 to probably about 2:30 to be on your own, play whatever you were going to do. Because that's when my family Like my dad and my mom would be making the turkey, getting it in the oven, and so on. And you were allowed to go play with the games you got for Christmas, play with each other, go out the street, talk to your friends, whatever you were to do that day. And that part was really fun because a lot of times I got gaming consoles like Nintendo 64. I remember that one year in 1997, or I think I got the Nintendo 64 for Christmas. I mean, like, that was huge. And so you set it up, you want to play, and I remember it came with Mario 64, one of my all-time favorite games. I have a lot of memories with it. And just couldn't believe the graphics at the time, of course. Like, that was just amazing. And playing Mario in 3D, and I just thought it was an amazing console, and I had such a great Christmas there. But there's a lot of things you'd get for Christmas, various video games. Turok, I remember getting that for Christmas one year. I remember getting Pokemon Stadium once for Christmas. I think Pokemon Stadium 2 actually for Christmas. I remember getting Pokemon. What was it? Pokemon. I want to say it was Diamond or Pearl, one or the other, because my sister used to get the opposite one, and we'd have that and do that and play, or we get a GameCube game. So there was a lot of good times there that we played, and so much wonderful memories of family cohesiveness and being together, and we always, as children, tried to play games together, and there'd be board games you might get that was a family gift from somebody, and we'd all want to sit down and play the board game. It was so much fun and such a great memory. And having your family, like your extended family, be there too was rewarding, especially now, because my grandfather used to film all this, and so we would have wonderful films of him with a camcorder to see all this. Because in a time like this where you really can't go anywhere, it's nice to sometimes see that, to see the family together, and know that next year, hopefully, with this vaccine, that we will be able to do that again and have a nice, good old-fashioned family Christmas. But yeah, so roughly then about 2:30 Christmas morning, as I said, you were allowed to play up till then. In the afternoon, you had to get ready because we had to go to my grandparents and have Christmas supper there. We were responsible for always bringing the turkey. And it was always nice to go there and have a beautiful Christmas dinner. My uncle used to have a tree in his back portion, and my grandmother had her tree out in her living room area where she was. And my uncle would buy us one gift each, and that would be in his area. My grandmother and grandfather had one or two gifts that they bought for us separately, so you'd open a couple of gifts there. And, it was great times, singing Christmas carols in the basement, having this Douglas fir tree. It was a Christmas tree that could talk, and you would speak into it using a microphone, and it would sing and talk, and you could do all kinds of fun stuff, and I used to really enjoy that. My grandmother would make little cakes with snowman tinsels, so you'd cut out, make a flat cake, a sheet of cake, and then use a cookie cutout to cut out snowmen. Or there'd be molds that she would have put the cake batter in to make, Christmas wreaths or Santa Clauses, and it was just so much fun and such great memories. And I was very lucky as a kid, extremely lucky. When I talked to others, some people didn't have such wonderful experiences like that, and I know for me now, being a dad, I'm going to pass a lot of this on to my daughters, and we've carried on some of these traditions, like the meat pie and stockings where you wrap them up with some gifts inside so that they can open up as appetizer gifts. We've really try to do some of that, and we've incorporated some other ones from my wife's side of the family, where they used to have, for example, Christmas morning, their big thing was to have Pillsbury cinnamon rolls. So you buy them in the tube and you open them up and put them in the oven, and so we've combined those too, as well as her family also was allowed to open a gift on Christmas Eve, and it was usually pajamas. And so we've kept that tradition as well. So every year we go and buy a whole pajama set. And for the whole family, we're all the same, or a similar theme for us all. And yeah, we wear those Christmas morning, or go to bed in them on Christmas night and wake up with Christmas morning with them on. So yeah, so there's so many cool family traditions from all across the globe for this holiday season. And I am fascinated by them all. And because it's such a good time of year and a good feeling and a warm feeling, I think that's what we need right now with what's been going on in the world. So please drop a like, share, comment, subscribe, and please share your family traditions for the holiday season. I would love to see and hear them. Please, again, stay safe. I know it's a tough time this year, and we can't see some of our family and friends for many of us across the globe. Hold the course, stay steady. Pretty soon all this is going to be behind us. 2021 is so close. There's a lot of good news out there with vaccines. Fingers crossed that they all work out well, and stay safe, and please enjoy the holiday season. Sit back, relax, play some video games, sit around, talk, have a virtual family meeting, have a virtual Christmas, as they're saying here in Ontario. Just have a wonderful time of year, and thank you all again so much for the positivity and support for the channel. It means so much to me that I've been able to help and put some of my thoughts. As I've said before, it was a hobby channel. So again, thank you so much, and have the merriest of this holiday season. Take care, guys.